You're watching The Advocate on Plus TV Africa. Testing the waters can be a recommended approach. The climate change hoax. Yes, that is my topic today. After our Too Hot to Handle clip was released...
So the president
does
is
not
right,
even include Africa.
and Greta Thunberg is to be admired. We shouldn't dismiss her.
At all.
The president is right.
Dismissing her.
She's exactly the epitome of what our young ladies should be. The president is right to go there, and it's a responsible thing to do. And I think it's actually irresponsible to imply that we shouldn't be bothered about climate change. I'm glad you added that we should do our bit. He was talking about planting trees, and he's right.
Due to my comments that climate change is a hoax, a few people were curious as to why I would take such a stance. And so this week, I decided to share why. Firstly, I'm pretty sure that many of you would not have heard of the 500 scientists who wrote to the United Nations declaring that there is no climate emergency. There is no cause for panic and alarm. There is no statistical evidence that global warming is intensifying hurricanes, floods, droughts, and such like natural disasters, or making them more frequent. Instead, we got Greta Thunberg, a 16-year-old girl, commanding the airwaves, saying, "You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words." So, how true are her words? How are we sure that humans are really responsible for global warming? Is there really an emergency, as they would have us believe? We constantly hear that 97% of climate scientists think global warming is real and largely caused by humans. A Google search on this reveals that the number was widely promoted by an Australian blogger named John Cook in 2013. Then, Al Gore deceptively chose 12,000 papers on climate change and manipulated and subjectively interpreted parts of abstracts to support his beliefs. Many scientists whose names were used protested. A recalculation showed that less than 2% of the papers cited mankind to be mainly responsible for global warming. The planet goes through weather cycles, and these have a much bigger impact on the climate than humans. There was also a time in the Earth's history, like the Cryogenian period, when the entire planet might have been a snowball. Many scientists don't buy into the climate change panic. Co-founder and former president of Greenpeace, by the way, Patrick Moore, says that climate change is a complete hoax and a scam. John Coleman, the late Weather Channel founder, called global warming the greatest scam in history. AccuWeather founder Dr. Joe Myers also agrees. So does Jeremy Corbyn's scientist brother, Piers Corbyn. Not to mention the dozens of failed climate predictions that stretch 80 years back. The 2009 ClimateGate scandal at the University of East Anglia, when a release of internal emails showed scientists eager to deceive to get more global warming money, with practices that range from bad professionalism to fraudulent science, bias, data manipulation, dodging freedom of information requests, and efforts to subvert the peer review process were uncovered. So what causes climate change? It is primarily caused by the fluctuations in the sun's intensity and also caused by the gradual changing tilt of the Earth's axis and changes in the Earth's orbit around the sun. There are other factors such as volcanism. So, why the hoax? Climate change is a hoax led by the United Nations so that it can end democracy and impose authoritarian rule. Global warming was merely a hook to install the New World Order, as stated by Maurice Newman, advisor to 2013 to 2015 Australian PM Tony Abbott. This mass hysteria is therefore, in my opinion, simply about money and power. Carbon taxes give governments much more control over commerce. Radical Democrats like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez proposing rebuilding all buildings in America and trains that will run across oceans in her Green New Deal to halt climate change. Somebody clearly benefits from this. climate change is being used as a control tool by governments that push it. They whip up mass hysteria to impose taxes and all manner of control on the people because, after all, we are saving the world. The bottom line is that climate change is still very much a mystery to us all, and until we have concrete proof that humans are mainly responsible for global warming, we all need to take a deep breath and actually calm down.
No, I don't agree with you.
That's okay.
You see...
wait, let him land.
No, I must say this quickly.
Oh, my goodness.
My sweetheart is also a geographer.
Okay, when you finish clapping, let Emeka land.
I fundamentally disagree.
Okay.
So maybe I'm part of the hoax cabal, but I do disagree. I think that rather this thing, there's some fundamental things around climate change. I do agree with you, however, with regards to obviously the sun. The Earth rotates around the sun, so whatever the sun does has an effect on us. There's no doubt about that. But to say that humans who live on this planet, 7-point-something billion of us, burning fossil fuels every day, taking carbon out of the ground, burning it, and we see it. If you go to China, there are days when you cannot see the sun. There are days you cannot breathe, you cannot see the sun. Why is that? Because people are burning coal and fossil fuels. If you lived in LA like 20 years ago, you couldn't see the sun. We had acid rain in Los Angeles. To say that climate change is a complete hoax,
I'm not necessarily. No, sorry, let me just come in and say I'm not saying
hold on, let him finish. Let him finish so his train of thought is a lot.
We as humans do not have an effect on the planet. It's actually, if you stretch that logic, is to say that we as humans who live on this planet, we have no significance, whatever. That's what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. 7
billion of us living, breathing, doing work, doing businesses,
without any effect.
Then we have no effect on the planet. That will be stretching in the wildest.
No, can I come in?
But I do agree that there is a context to an economy. Everything is about money. We live in a planet now. Everything revolves around money. We were here how many years ago when we had the 2000?
Yes,
we had that global scam. If you say, millennium bug. Once you get to everything will crash, planes will fall out of the sky.
Okay, yes, we had that.
And so on and so forth. So obviously on both sides of the divide, there are people who stretch the argument for whatever reasons, for pecuniary reasons or whatever. But I don't subscribe to the idea as reflected in your advocacy that somehow 7-point-something billion people living on this planet have no contribution or no effect.
Okay, no, but please, I must come back to Emeka. No, because you might continue.
My line of
it's a very quick one. I'm not really going to say anything.
I get it. Can respond to all of
gosh.
them.
Okay, carry on.
In one breath, you say climate change is a hoax. In another breath, you say it wasn't caused by human. That means there's climate change. So
I feel there's a huge misrepresentation of what I said, but anyway, carry on.
Let's represent it.
Okay, represent it from your own perspective, yes.
And so for me, really, I like Emeka has said, I believe it's a 50-50 thing. Not as challenging as people are making it to seem, but at the same time, there is definitely climate change and there's an impact. The only way I can even take it to the average man on the street is the river in my community. That is drying up faster than ever. You know, it's not just about the sun. It's also the impact of even the locals.
Even plastics. Look at what plastics are doing in our oceans.
And so all of this contributes to all of this climate change that we're talking about. But yes, I agree that it's big business to some persons, to some countries, and all of that. Then, like Chuka talked about last week, in Africa here is not as
we're not contributing as much as some other countries.
But that does not mean that if we just fold our hands, it won't get to us. And then recently they talked about that 31 years from now, cities like Lagos will submerge and all those ones too. Yes, why it is good to predict, but I really don't think that it's as
drastic
as they make it seem. I agree with you partly, and I completely love your advocacy, but I also understand.
She's an agent provocateur.
No,
She's pushing this thing.
No,
But she's giving us a platform to have this discussion.
No, it's a good
But Emeka, you have to let
Somebody has spoken. So I must respond to this
the rest of us,
so that it doesn't like carry on, you know.
feels she's
I
been
think I'm
misunderstood.
being misunderstood.
Okay.
I'm not saying that humans don't have any effect whatsoever on climate change. What I'm saying is that the degree at which they're pushing that humans actually have that kind of impact, I'm actually
You
disputing
know there's some
that.
islands in the Indian Ocean that are literally unlivable at the moment.
That's true, but
Okay.
there was also times that they were
Jakarta,
saying
that city, they're
the
planning to
icebergs
leave.
were melting, but then the icebergs didn't. Then they formed
but they
again.
melt.
And then also in the 70s and the 80s, do you know that the prediction that they gave at the time was that it was going to be an ice age?
But do you
now
know
they're
that
talking about global warming.
But do you know that that governments and countries, that's why I use Los Angeles. If Los Angeles didn't do anything about the acid rain, Los Angeles as a city will have become unlivable. So actions were taken by governments
Like the
to
acid
solve
rain
that.
in
To solve that.
that
No,
destroy
not that Korocha one.
That destroy
So it is possible. So it is possible.
Okay, I'm coming in.
Technology
Let me-
and changes in how we do certain
yes.
things will affect
I agree.
predictions.
Okay, let me
But I'm
come in.
just
Let me
saying,
come in.
to what
Because
degree? The fact is we don't know
Uche,
to
you have
what
to let us.
degree.
You have to
That's
let
what
us
I'm saying.
respond to your advocacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let me just come in now. I think yes, clearly there was that opportunity to misunderstand you because you were trying to debunk what you felt was a hoax. My problem with the whole climate change discussion, because even when I researched it, I realized it's very partisan.
Yes.
So I'm not interested, both from your
Yes,
perspective
yes,
and
it
theirs.
could be, yeah.
Most people who want to make the argument against climate change, you can pretty much follow them, and they're sounding like Trump. They're Republicans, they're this, they're that, and they're following a certain trend. Those who want to make it for are certainly liberals and this, and so I'm not interested. When people start going into camps, I'm not interested. I just want what's best for everyone. Let's forget scoring points. Let's look at it. We are for the earth. We are for preserving the earth for the generations to come, and that's really where I end my point.
I think I'm just going to say the makers of computer virus are also the makers of antivirals.
Yes, exactly. I understand where you're coming from. Yes,
Right.
exactly.
So
it's like big pharma and drugs. Yes.
So when you see this kind of argument and this kind of economy, not even political now, economy, court strategies, and I keep quiet and I watch from afar because I also know that major sponsors of grants are also major sponsors of war. You understand? So we don't allow them to just take us into camps, like you said. But unfortunately, in Nigeria, we don't have research centers
So what you are
to
saying
prove
now,
them either wrong or right.
So what you are saying is that the sponsors of security votes are also sponsors of insecurity. So that we can take it home.
So now that everybody has spoken, the reason I had to bring this up is not that I actually think...
I'm glad you brought it up.
Yes, it's not that I actually think man has no responsibility or contribution towards climate change. What I want to do is bring awareness so that it's not this kind of
don't swallow everything they say
response that people have to absolutely everything. You know, they're fed stuff, they don't question anything, they don't go and read about anything, and they jump on the bandwagon.
You know, somebody was asking me, climate change, where does he live? Because everybody's talking about it. Where does he live? So now with your message that calm down, it's not as bad as
cool out,
but still do your bit for society.
No, absolutely.
Don't throw away.
Let's be friendly to the environment.
Yes,
you have to be.
I
be proactive.
I always compare it to, you're not going to leave your house dirty with so much filth and rubbish because diseases will come and all manner of things. So I believe we should definitely still take care of our environment. Can we everybody just calm down a bit,
Yeah,
that's all.
Let's calm down.
Except that in Nigeria, we haven't even gotten stirred up.
Yeah, but we have viewers in diaspora.
We're too laid back. We need to be whipped up into more action.
We have enough change. We have enough change to 2015.
We don't have problems with being calm.
Our problem is worse than climate change.
Oh my goodness! Right, there you go. At least all I can do is lay out my stall and encourage you to find out for yourselves. Emeka lays it bare from a personal experience after the break. Stay tuned.